Hello everyone. This is Suzanne from Mosaic Oasis. Today I'm going to talk about how to make an outdoor table. I've had a lot of inquiries about how to make outdoor tables since people are now at home and they need something to do. This is a great activity, especially for the springtime. So I'm going to focus completely on outdoor tables. If you want an indoor table, it's really simple. You could have a wood table with a wood surface. You would use our friend weld bond like we normally do, making any other kind of mosaic. But since we're going outdoors, we need to be really concerned about the table, the surface, and your adhesive. So for your table, the best type of table for outdoors is a wrought iron table, if you can find one, or any other metal type table. And it has to be pretty sturdy. And then the table part itself, the substrate part that you're going to be mosaicing, if it comes with a wooden insert, you need to take that out, and you need to use something other than wood. The best materials, one, you could use an old tile. Sometimes you can get a 10-inch table or a 12-inch table, and you can just plop right in an old tile. So tiles work. My favorite material for tabletops would be hardy backer board or cement board. It's really easily found at Lowe's or Home Depot, and you can cut it up pretty easily as well. Other materials, weedy board, which we have here at Mosaic Oasis, and also sometimes you have stuff called Wonder Board or Go Board. These are lightweight. Both of these are lightweight, and these are good for tables as well. I'm going to work today on cement board. Cement board comes in 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch. I would go with the 1/4 inch, depending upon how high you want your table to be. The other materials you'll need to get ready, you need a palette knife. If you don't have this type, you can get this at the hardware store. This works just as well. A scooper to scoop out your thin set, and then a couple of containers. Let me talk about the adhesive. We know we can't use weld bond because weld bond will loosen up if it gets wet or if it freezes. So what we use is thin set. Here at Mosaic Oasis, if you do your project here, I get this dry thin set that we mix with water. If you're doing this at home, I would suggest that you purchase a pre-mixed thin set. You can buy this at the local hardware store or at Lowe's or at Home Depot. Before I talk about this, let me just show you how to mix up thin set, the dry thin set. You may have this at home. You want to add water really slowly because you want to get it to a nice kind of a consistency of frosting. You may want to wear a mask, have your mask ready because it's a little dusty. And once you get it to the right consistency, it's very, very important that you let it sit for 10 minutes. This is called slaking. The little chemical reaction happens between the sand and the silica and the water that's in there. So you want to mix up in small batches because once this dries out, you cannot add any more water to it. You just have to throw out what you're not using. So jet and start all over again. So mix up a small batch. This is a good kind of consistency. Like I said, frosting, cake frosting is nice. So now I'm going to let that sit for 10 minutes. The rest of this is the same whether you're using a thin set from dry powder or whether you're using the pre-mixed batch. Pre-mixed I like for kind of for beginners and for at home is because the texture is really, I love the texture, it works really well. I always scoop it into another container so I can cover this up because you really don't want the air to get to it. So give yourself a small bit of thin set, and same with this. If it dries out and it forms a big crust on it, you have to throw it out and start new. The materials for a tabletop. Any kind of glass tile works, any kind of ceramic tile works. I know lots of people like to use like broken china. Broken china is fine, but not all of it is good for outside. And here's a really quick test. We call it a spit test, but I'm not going to spit because of the, coronavirus. So we're just going to use, I got a little thing of water here. Basically, what you want to do is just dip your finger and put a little blob of water. And you can't really see it in this video, but if that blob of water gets sucked up really quickly and it doesn't stay beaded, this type of material, like this one that I have in my hand, will not work outside. So oftentimes you're not, anything that's not highly fired, like the really beautiful Mexican or Italian pottery, really won't work outside because they're not frostproof. Something like this, if I do my little spit test, I can see, you can't see it, but I can see the water has stayed beaded up on here and it's not being absorbed. So this type of china, does have a pretty pattern, will work fine in your outdoor tabletop. So just keep that in mind if you like to work with broken pottery. Just remember the spit test. The next thing you want to do is really how you apply. So I have some tiles here. I'm just going to lay some out. The way I like to do this with thin set, you want to lay down using your palette knife. First of all, you know, you're going to have your pattern all set up out ahead of time. You're just not going to start out willy-nilly. You're going to plan this a little bit. I'm going to make this into a nice kind of smooth surface. I know what my pattern is going to be. I know what I'm doing. And then I want to just take my tiles and I want to just kind of, I call it just nestle them in there. It's really important that you see thin set on all four sides of your tile. The other thing, most likely you're going to grout this, so you want the thin set to be just lower than the tile so that your grout can fit in there, because once this thin set dries, it's really hard to chip off. It dries, you know, really hard. So I'm going to put another one here, and I'm just going to nestle it in there really nicely. And then I'm just going to keep on going. And when I'm done for the day, when I'm done doing my mosaicing, I'm just going to go back. See, I'm getting them, I got nice even grout lines, but they're all nicely nestled in there. I'm going to go back, say I've done a bunch, and this is my end. I am going to just scrape this off, because when you come back tomorrow or the next day, you don't want to have this hard thin set there, and there'll be a different height. So you just scrape that all off. And just make sure that the thin set is lower than the height of your tiles. Then you'll be all set for grouting. I think that's all you really need to know. It's really fun making outdoor tiles. Oh, another thing that you need to do is your tools. It's really important. Don't dip them in water. Just scrape them. I don't have a paper towel handy, but just use a paper towel and wipe off all the thin set, because tomorrow you're not going to get it off. So here's how you work with thin set. Email me with questions. I hope I've answered all yours. Hope to see you soon. Bye.